predicament. Two houses being moved, one coming from each way. Don't see that every day. You'll get a lot of houses moved along this road, but you don't normally get one from each way at the same time. Hell of a problem. Just want to correct a mistake, a misstatement I said the other day when I was cooking. I said it might have been an Austrian kit. And this kit that I use is Czech. And I see they got more of them. You know, good little kit. And also for you paracord people, rolls and rolls of paracord. $69.95 for what must be like 1,000 feet. Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't own any paracord. I have no use for paracord. There's never come a situation where a roll of wire wouldn't get me out of a jam better than a roll of paracord. But I know it's all the rage. Paracord this and paracord that. Brand new Italian long handles. That might be something a man should stock up on. Yeah, surplus section is always a treat. Though I can't quite see myself wearing an Italian safari helmet. But it's good to know that they're available. Look at these. What is this? Check. Yeah. Magazine pouches for an AK-47. You know, $10, but beautiful chunk of leather. But since I don't own an AK, but nice to see some really nice quality. Dutch long handles in a bright blue. They don't look bad. $7.99, $9.99. German green ones. I guess this is the time of year to be buying long handles. Whenever I'm in town, I look just to see what's available. And it's surprising to me. I actually thought it was getting better, but today, looking in town, I see very few bullets and powder in short supply. Primer seemed to be all right yet, but you know, funny, powder is still rare. You know, I don't really need any, but I just like to keep an eye on things. But I actually thought it was getting better. And here again, no 22s. No, I really thought it had turned around, but I think it was a mistake to think that. $75 round drum bags for an AK. $89.99. Seems to be no shortage of that crap. Rows and rows of it. Now this is what I actually went to town for today. Was cutting edges for the grader. And there's 4 of them there, so it's 2 pair. I run a pair at a time. But oddly enough, these come out of Canada. You know, you would think this would be something the Chinese would be doing, but these are Canadian. And these are heat treated. You know, blades come in really 2 flavors, but there's other options. But heat treated or not heat treated, and it's always a debate, you know, because these are like $116 each, and I can get the untreated for like $100. But the heat treated lasts a lot longer and take less rotating. And I got the feeling it's going to be a dry year. And in dry conditions, the heat treated lasts longer. So I'm thinking, this will be a dry year, so I'll go with the heat treated. But I go through, well, probably 4 pair over the summer. At least that. I got a lot of them at home. Old ones, because I can wear them down. They start out as 8-inch, but I can wear them down to about 3. So I'm putting, a lot of steel on the road. But they do the job. I say about rotating them, you can see, right in the center of the blade, there's a split. So it's 2 7-foot pieces. Though I've got an extension, I can go on and run 2 8-foot pieces. And they do make other blades. They make one that's got a carbide edge, but they're really, really spendy. And I have heard if you try to back blade, back up, you can peel that carbide off. So, the heat-treated ones seem to work. No, I can see I was out in the mud last week. But these are almost, I've got to rotate them. You always wear more in the center than you do on the outside. So every so often I have to rotate them so it doesn't get too bowed. Otherwise, if you wore too much in the middle, it ain't bad this time of year because I'm spreading gravel. But what I'll do is I'll rotate these, and then when it dries out, I'll find myself some hard pack road that has too much crown on it, and within a couple, 3 miles, I can grind them level again. I've heard of people actually running them on blacktop, on a paved road, floating the blade to grind them level. But I know the one time this state guy said that as he pulled into town with the road grader after doing that, he met the fire trucks coming out of town because he had started grass fires in the ditch all the way along where he went. So, and that's just a waste, so I rotate them fairly often. Though it's a pain in the ass to make it, especially when they're new, they're very heavy. I've never weighed one, but, they're all, I don't understand the guy who used to do this. I've been doing this for many, many years, but the guy who did it before I did, it was when they finally made him quit, he was like 90 years old, and I, for the life of me, can't figure out how he ever was able to lift them blades up to get them on. Okay, what I said about used grader blades, here's just part of my collection. I've got a couple other smaller piles, and over winter I was carrying 8 of them in the back of my pickup. They're great for dead weight, unless you roll the vehicle and they go flailing around. But someday I'm going to have to haul them in for scrap iron, because like I say, I'm getting to have a lot of them. There's a few in the shop too, but I just brought them home to get them out of the shop, because they do tend to pile up. But good steel, good clean steel. Okay, as a sort of an addition to this, which is pretty random anyway. When I was in town today, I had somebody sent me an email asking about these low power Mosin loads using that 150 grain Lee bullet, because the ones I was using, he asked if I was using gas checks, and yeah, I used gas checks on them, but they are low power, and I really don't think you'd have to. I don't think it would matter, except that this bullet is designed for a gas check. It has that shape, so I don't know if that would matter. What would be interesting to do sometime would be to take one of those Lee molds, which are cheap enough that you can play with them a little, and grind out that area, make it a little larger to get rid of that gas check and make a flat base bullet out of it. I think that might work for these real low velocity loads, which are fun to play with. Another thing, okay, with the gas checks on, when you go to load them, they'll slide in pretty good without a lot of flaring on the case. Now, he was talking about using the Lee pace setter set, which is actually what I have, though I have the crimp die also, which, I tend to get crimp dies for everything. But if you're going, because the bullet he mentioned was one I wasn't familiar with, but if you're going right in without a gas check on them, you do have to flare the case a little bit, or it'll shave the lead off. You end up with a lopsided bullet. What I did before, I used to always take a regular surplus, get in there, and just go around like this a couple times, and it would make a little bit of a flare, just enough to get it started without shaving. But the best way is that Lee Universal Expander that actually comes with 2 different plugs, so it goes up to, I think, up to a 50 caliber, from 22 to, I think, 50. But they're kind of handy and pretty cheap, and they work for a lot of stuff. But, because if you buy the Lee die set that has the through the powder die, or through the die powder die, then it will have that flare built into it. But the regular pace setter die set, I think it only comes with these 2 dies. And the crimp die you could get by without, because it's bolt action. But in order to get them in there without shaving them, I think you have to, well, they'd probably go. But like I say, I don't know how well they'd perform. It'd be interesting to try it. But I should actually sometime buy one of the Lee molds and modify it. There's another one I want to modify anyway. But, the bullet he mentioned, I don't know if it's set up for a gas check or not. Because if it's set up for a gas check, I would almost think that you would have, gas cutting by. Well, and he asked about 308 bullets in a Mosin too. Well, a lot of the Lee information in their die sets, it always comes with information for 308. But I think that's basically because at the time, it was hard to get anything but 308. Now, for a Mosin, they actually like a bigger bullet. The 311, 312, in the cast, up to the 314, or I'm thinking even bigger sometimes. But the standard is like a 310. But 308, I've never had any luck with them. I've tried a lot of different 308s, but also at the same time I should say that there are some of the Finnish Mosins that are rebarreled with a 308 barrel. Not chambered for 308, but the barrel is 308. I know Teleosris, the one time, one of his friends, I think they were trying to get standard surplus to load. It wouldn't load. Well, it turned out it was a 308 barrel, which would be really super. I wouldn't mind having a 308 barrel because you get a better selection of bullets. But I will sometime have to sit down and when I say about a longer video, sometime I'll do a longer Mosin reloading video. But it's, playing with the information that you got. But basically, you want to know about gas checks? If it's set up for a gas check, I tend to run them. But it would save you 3 cents if you didn't have to, and for them low velocity. But sometime I'll do that. I'll try loading some of these up without a gas check and just try and see if they behave that much differently from the gas checked ones.